Thank you, Jenny. So for this year's alum panel, as Jenny mentioned, we have 4 alums who now work and serve in various industries, both public and private. We have a list of prepared 8 questions, and we chose these questions because we felt they would be the most common questions new incoming members would have for alums. And how it's going to work, I'm going to ask the panelists the list of prepared questions, and we have 30 minutes allotted for that. And I see we're a little ahead of schedule. So if there's any time left over after the initial set of questions, we'll open it up to the audience and maybe take a question or two. And so it is about 10:58 right now. And joining us today, I'll introduce our panelists. We have and the order I introduce them in will also be the order of the questions. So we have Laura Love, who is the manager of the Washington State Legislative Information Center. Tim Guntle, who served in the U.S. Army for 22 years and served in multiple terms of Vet Corps. Celina Fox, who is a recent Gonzaga graduate. She immigrated to the U.S. from Mexico and earned her master's degree while serving at AmeriCorps. And Trang Tran, program manager for resources, training, and program engagement at the College Success Foundation, who's also the daughter of immigrants and a first-generation college grad. So thank you for being here today and volunteering to be part of this panel. Thank you so much. So I'll get us started with the first question. It's an easy one. Tell us a little bit about yourself, when and where you served. Tell us when and where you served and a little bit about your program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Rachel. My name is Laura Love. I am a queer, neurodivergent person with a disability. I'm also an adventurer who loves to be near water. I am currently with the Legislative Support Services, managing their Legislative Information Center. I am an AmeriCorps Vista alum from 2012 and 13. I served at the Washington Coalition of Crime Victim Advocates and then Homes First Affordable Rental Housing. My focus was on building capacity, first as a volunteer coordinator and then as a program manager.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. Tim?
Good morning. Name's Timothy Guntle. I am currently serving my 4th year with the Washington Department of Veteran Affairs, Vet Corps, as a Vet Corps member at Clover Park Technical College. After 22 years of military service, I wanted to continue to serve, and now my focus is assisting military connected individuals seeking common ground in accessing benefits, as well as providing various referrals to a number of campus and community resources with the goal of helping veterans, their family members persevere and find balance in their personal lives as well as their academic lives.
Thank you. Celina?
Hi, everyone. I'm a full-time term alum, and I served 2 consecutive terms with AmeriCorps in 2013 and 2014 as a project coordinator treating Hispanic adults. And then during the pandemic, I went back to AmeriCorps, and on the same day I started my master's. So I'm currently
Oh, I think we just lost your audio feed there, Celina.
Hello, am I back on? Am I having technical difficulties?
Mm-hmm. All right, so shall we have Trang answer the question, and then maybe we'll circle back to you, Celina, maybe in the next question.
Yeah, I can take it off. Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everybody. My name is Trang Tran, or the Vietnamese pronunciation is Giang Jun. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm joining you from the unceded land of the Puyallup tribe in Tacoma, Washington. I'm a little bit about me. So I'm a 1st-generation college student, like Rachel's said. I'm a woman of color, a daughter of refugees. And so these are identities that I take with me in every space that I'm in. I'm currently the program manager of resources and training with our AmeriCorps program at College Success Foundation. And I've also served at College Success Foundation's AmeriCorps program with our college and career coach program. So I was a college and career coach at First Creek Middle School, which is just like a 5-minute walk down the street from, my family home growing up. So I served really in the community that I grew up in with, siblings and cousins and nieces and nephews of my peers. And so it was really like a great opportunity to come back to my community and start that early college and career knowledge and building college and career cultures in underserved schools, much like the schools that I grew up. I didn't go to First Creek. I went to the school down the other side of the road, but it's also a school that we have our programming in. And so College Success Foundation is actually an organization that I was a part of as a student, being a first generation college student, not really knowing the college application process and landscape. And so CSF helped guide my way through the barriers of higher education. And that's where I really found my love for college access and education. So I'm a huge advocate for equity-based practice, thinking about who's at the formative table and planning for strong and sustainable communities. And so AmeriCorps has really been a big fundamental part of this process. And so I'm really glad to be back working in a role with our AmeriCorps program at CSF and being part of this important work.
Thank you, Trang. And I know Celina's having trouble and with her audio right now. So if Ryan, if you can help her, that's great. And Celina, if you get back online, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and a signal, and we'll go ahead and include you in whatever question we happen to be on. So our next question is, why did you choose to serve in AmeriCorps?
So I had been out of college for 1 year. I had found a job contracting with a state agency, but was still desperately looking for a full-time job with benefits. The job market was not accommodating to entry-level positions for people who had just gotten out of college. As a lifelong volunteer and advocate for volunteering, when I saw a volunteer coordinator position serving as a VISTA, I just knew it was for me. I jumped at the opportunity and have only ever been grateful for making that decision.
Tim?
Well, upon leaving the military service, as many of us are during our transition, kind of lost and didn't have a sense of purpose at the time. So decided to join Vet Corps off of a recommendation of another veteran. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I ever did, and have the pleasure to continue doing. Has allowed me to actually continue to serve my community and reduce many of the barriers that I know the veterans here at this college currently face, as well as those on JBLM and on the Cord and the surrounding Pierce County area.
Thanks. Trang?
Yeah, I think like many others, and also like in the breakout rooms, we talked a little bit about like that sense of not knowing where you're going, what you want to do, needing to get that clarity. And so I definitely empathize and have had that experience too after graduation. And so I knew that, graduating from college, I knew that communities like mine were always viewed as like its problems rather than its strengths. College was where I really like learned the power of changing narratives and thinking from like an asset-based thinking rather than a deficit-based thinking. So I knew I wanted to share my story, strengthen my community, and go back to where I grew up, because I went to Spokane for college. And I was already doing like community-based work, and getting experience in college access and not the nonprofit sector while in college. And so the CSF AmeriCorps College and Career program was really like a great fit and provided me room to explore and learn and grow and also serve in my hometown community. So it just made sense. Do I know what I'm doing, like where I'm going now and what I want to do? No, but I think I know what's important to me. And so I think this program definitely helped provided that clarity too.
Thanks for sharing, Trang. Celina, are you back with us?
Can you hear me?
A little. It's a little garbled there. Do you want to answer the question, Celina,
How
or
about
should
now?
Yes, that's a little bit better. So why did you choose to serve in AmeriCorps?
No, yes. Okay, excellent. You can have love reading and as a mom.
Celina, I
that's
think
what
we're still having trouble hearing you. We can't hear what you're saying.
to do with my child, so I wanted to do that for other kids.
Celina, we're still having trouble hearing what you're saying. So, hopefully,
Rachel
yes. Hi,
and
yes.
Rachel and Celina.
How about now?
We're going to suggest, Celina, that you call in. And if you look at the group chat that we have on our phones, you should see the number that Lou has pasted into the chat on our phones.
Awesome. So while we wait for Celina, we'll go on to question 3. And Mary, if you can let me know if just monitor and see if you can, when Celina gets back, just let us know and we'll pick it up. So at Serve Washington, we believe it's important to create opportunities for everyone to serve. And we've been intentional about including alums on this panel who reflect communities we serve, and we serve BIPOC people, LGBTQI plus people, veterans, immigrants, refugees, people with disabilities, older people, younger people, everyone. So given that, how did AmeriCorps make you feel welcome and that you belong?
Yeah, so I can't think of a specific person or event that necessarily created the environment that was so welcoming to me. I can say when I went to my own initial conference for AmeriCorps, we were obviously not in pandemic days in 2012, and we were in person. And I've been in a lot of spaces where people talk about equality and equity and diversity, and then a lot of the people look like me in that room. And so it was really nice to be in a room full of people that just visually looked different from each other. And then as we got to know each other, our backgrounds were so diverse. We came from so many different places and had so many different experiences that it just really made me feel like I never had to hide parts of who I am. And it wasn't just that I felt accepted, it was that I felt welcomed for who I was as a whole person, not an identity or any specific part of me, but just that I knew when I spoke up that my experiences and my voice were going to be honored in that space. And that's huge.
Thank you, Laura. How about you, Tim?
Well, my vet corps group, as well as Clover Park, as soon as I joined up and signed, it became a family. It had that initial feel that I just belonged. The diversity offered here, the acceptance, they have just been thoroughly helpful in everything regarding the self-awareness of the veterans here, as well as myself, and just the support I get from the group here, as well as my vet corps family, has been phenomenal.
Yes, thank you, Tim. That's very important. Trang?
Yeah, I think, identifying as, a woman of color, a queer person, I think, a first generation college, and there's a lot of instances where in life, right, feeling like I don't belong in a lot of spaces, but I think with our AmeriCorps program, like that wasn't the case. But I don't say that like my experience is like, the end all be all right there. We are operating in a society, that, that operates in systems of power, privilege, and oppression. And so I don't think that our program is outside of that, but I think like how the CSF AmeriCorps program is really intentional about, creating welcoming spaces, having powerful discussions, challenging one another, also providing each other, room to rest, to reset. And so I think definitely like, and look out for each other. And I hope that and that's something that we all uphold together, right? That's not something that one person dictates, but it's something that is upheld by the united, like we. And so I hope that you all are also participating in creating more equitable spaces, trying to think about how to make spaces more inclusive, and also thinking about, who is not at the table and who can we bring to the table. So I think that while my experience was great, I think there's always room for improvement. And so if you think there's room for improvement, definitely, I think, well, at least our space, we want to hear that feedback, and strive to build a more inclusive and equitable program.
Thank you, Trang. Yes, it's very important, and making programs equitable and a lot of resources equitable is an ongoing process. So thank you for sharing. Next question. We've all heard the term work-life balance. Tell us a little bit about service-life balance. We all have commitments and responsibilities outside of service. So what are some ways AmeriCorps has helped you maintain a service-life balance during your service?
So one of the big things for me was health. As a person with a disability and a single parent of a child with a disability, you can imagine we have a lot of appointments. Those appointments generally are Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 to 5, which is the workday. My service sites were very family oriented, very health oriented. So I was able to flex my schedule. I never had to put off any sort of appointment for myself or my child when I was there. They also, one of the really wonderful things was we would have events at my service site, and any of them that were child friendly, my kid always got an invitation to them. And so my kid and I have some memories volunteering together at some Vista events that are just incredibly special to us and will keep forever.
Okay. And I just got a message from Celina that she's back with us on the phone. So I'll go ahead and go in the order that we had. So Tim, and then I'll turn it over to Celina. So Tim, how about the question?
Yeah, as a disabled veteran, I find the flexibility and autonomy this program, as well as my site location offers, has afforded me the chance to actually be more transparent in my personal struggles, as well as it's become a great dependable network I can lean upon and request assistance if need be, as well as the Vet Corps group. We're all there for each other, and we seem to work hand in hand with everything.
Right, awesome. Thank you, Tim. Celina, are you able to join us on the phone? Nope. Hearing nothing. Any reason? Okay. Trang?
Yeah, I think, I think it's no shocker here that schools are under-resourced, and have a lot of need, and can take support wherever that's needed. And I think our program, and so a lot of folks often go to our program, and that was definitely the experience of my service year of like, trying to fill in the cracks as much as needed. But our program definitely like taught us how to set like important professional boundaries, how to, to know what our role is at the schools, and to kind of have that focus, right? Because otherwise we can be doing everything under the sun, but that's not very sustainable for our, my well-being. And so that was something that was part of our training, and also like providing a really good support system to like to problem solve with one another, and also like like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do after graduating. And so like my like managers and mentors in the program like helped connected me with different opportunities, like different people I can interview, shadow, and like volunteer opportunities outside that I was interested in to help me kind of define and make use of my service year. So definitely make use of your service year and use that time to explore and thinking about your life after AmeriCorps. I think that's a really big part of our program, is to utilize your service year also for your own development too. And so I was able to definitely get that development, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you, Trang. Our next question, tell us about a time in your service where you felt you made a difference in someone's life. What's a memory that still makes you smile?
So I have a ton of amazingly rewarding experiences and memories from my service, but this was not a difficult question to answer. As soon as I read it, I knew I was going to talk about new tenant buckets. Homes First affordable rental housing gets people into homes, low income people, people who are living at and below poverty levels. I knew, as somebody who has lived as low income and who has been unhoused, I knew firsthand that just getting into a house wasn't enough. So when I got there, I fundraised to start new tenant bucket programs. So that way, when folks are coming in and signing their lease, they're also given this 5-gallon bucket filled with household and personal care items to be able to take care of themselves in their new home. I think everyone at my service site said, yeah, this is an okay idea. But the first bucket we gave out, the tenant pulled out each item and explained how important it was. Some of them, how she had not even considered that she would need these. And I think the program was sealed into permanence when she pulled out the toilet paper and started crying about how she hadn't even considered that. And she's moving in with these 3 kids and just how important that was to her. So when we left, everybody who was there that day, it was like, new tenant buckets, this is happening. And it's a program that continues on today. And so it's one of my memories when I wonder if I've done any good in the world, or what am I doing, or what have I done? I think about that person's reaction and how incredibly important it was to her, and just how many more people have had that experience since then. And just know that I have done some good in the world.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. Some of the biggest differences can happen in the smallest ways. Tim, same question.
Yeah, there's been so many. Well, my biggest thing is accessibility, reducing barriers, and just helping people out. One of the biggest things that's affected me so far is helping a homeless veteran family in off the streets, getting them secured with housing and getting them back into school and for the betterment of themselves. And it just it's very empowering and humbling at the same time. And to this day, they're still in contact with me. They give me updates on how they're doing and get invited to the daughter's birthday party. It's unbelievable. It truly is.
Thanks, Tim. Trang?
Yeah, this summer actually I saw on 3 different occasions 3 of my former students who I met as 8th graders, and now they're in 12th grade. 2 I met while they were doing their like they were working, like so they were, they were working jobs while going to school. Another one was at a park, and it was really great to see like how much they've grown, like how much clarity they have in terms of like where they want to go, what they want to do, how they're spending their senior year. And also it feels good to also be remembered too, I do have to say. I mean, I was only in part of their lives for 1 year, and I don't anticipate, or expect to be remembered, but it's always like a really good feeling to see your students and see that, I can't believe that they've grown up so much. So yeah, that was a really great opportunity this summer.
Thank you so much, Trang. So our next question.
Rachel, this
Oh,
is Mary.
yes.
We think that Celina is back with phone audio.
Uh-huh.
Could you see if she is able to answer a question now?
Yeah. Celina, are you able to jump in? Still not hearing anything. She had messaged and said that she's muted by the host. I'm not sure if any of our co-hosts can
Can you
patch
hear
her
me?
in. Yes, yay! Celina's back.
Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go.
All right, do you need me to repeat the question, or are you good?
I'm good. It's question about
Yeah, tell us about a time you made a difference during your service.
for me, the one that has the most impact is working with Hispanic adults. Teaching adults how to read and write in their own language. And to do it. Grown-ups and being able to go home and read a book to their grandchildren, and that for me has been the greatest impact. That's something I give people that can never be taken away. So to me, it's the biggest and most fondest memory.
Thank you, Celina. I think we're still having a little bit trouble with the audio on your end. So I'm hoping that our co-host can help you troubleshoot that. So I'll move on to the next question. So tell us about a challenge, and that's kind of a good segue, a time when you've had to pivot because things didn't go as planned. How did you meet that challenge?
So I had one of the more challenging terms of service in my group. When I started in 2012, I started at one service site, and the site ended up having some unforeseen issues that resulted in me not being able to do the work that I was hired to do. There was a period of time where all of the regular staff were working from home, and I was showing up to the office and really just unclear of what I was doing since the work I was hired to do was not possible. So I reached out to, at the time, it was Terry and Jennifer at what Serve was back then, and asked them for help and just let them know what was going on, let them know that I was still really devoted to finishing my term of service. And if there was any way to make that happen, that's what I wanted to do. And they helped me reach out to other organizations in my area that had vistas and were able to transfer me to Homes First, where I finished my year of service.
Thank you, Laura. How about you, Tim?
Well, coming in on 2019's term, right towards the end of that is when the COVID time period hits. And that would have been my toughest challenge, having to learn to take everything that was in person and turn it mobile and or virtual. But by doing so, it brought in a lot of good partnerships in the community in the area. I was able to reach out to more veterans and family members past my local community into further communities and actually build upon a stronger base and more access to individuals a little more countywide.
Right. Thanks, Tim. Frank?
Yeah, I think the community that I grew up in and served in, like, doesn't always have the best reputation. And as you know, and I've definitely been a person who has been like underestimated because of where I came from. And so that is something that certainly that, despite the few years that I, left and went to pursue my undergrad and came back, that was something that wasn't changed. And unfortunately, like, a lot of folks viewed students in, in negative lights, or what they could become, what they were capable of, or dictating, like letting the students' past dictate their future. And I know how detrimental that can be. Like, I've seen it. And so that was something that was really hard to navigate as like a professional.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
And as a professional and, you know, and also as a colleague. And so I leaned.
Oh, Trang, now you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I leaned a lot on my team to help me navigate those circumstances. I also focused my attention on the students and providing that space, support, you know, thinking from an asset-based mindset, strengths-based mindset for my students and my community. But I think also, like, you know, working in, you know, and with vulnerable populations, with communities, there's a lot of instances where I was not prepared for certain things, you know, like where I had to be a mandated reporter and report abuse, where, you know, like, or students coming to school, you know, being hungry and not being able to focus. And so, like, definitely had to think creatively, think broadly, partner with folks in my network and in my community and at the school to think about how we can, you know, bring that support and resources for our students so that, you know, they can feel supported at the school and feel like there's somebody there for them.
Thank you for sharing, Trang, and all of you. That just, even though a lot of the situations are different, and now with our audio, we're continuing to face challenges. That's one thing that we have to do as AmeriCorps members. So thank you. Serve Washington tries to make national service a pathway to great things. So how did your service prepare you for where you are now?
So I ended up volunteering with Homes First after my VISTA term of service was up. I sat on their board of directors, and that gave me the experience and professional references I needed to jump into my current career path. And just sort of big picture, now I get to donate money to them directly through my paycheck at the job that experience helped me get. So I can directly trace my success today in my career to my year of service with VISTA. And I am just so grateful to still be involved with my service site this whole decade later.
Thank you, Laura. How about you, Tim?
Well, being in such a position has given me a lot of more personal awareness and has allowed me a lot of autonomy in many personal and professional aspects. All of which has allowed me to grow professionally while keeping my goals aligned with AmeriCorps values and the scope as I continue on my future endeavors to some of the things I'm venturing in.
Thanks, Tim. Trang?
So I don't know if I made this clear, but so I never left College Success Foundation after being an AmeriCorps member. So I after my year of service, I joined our scholarships and financial aid education team for 3 years, and now just recently going back to this role to our AmeriCorps team and serving as the program manager of resources and training. And so I definitely think where I am now is attributed to the network and relationships and also skills that I built and was able to explore during my year of service and after my year of service. And in terms of like my journey, so I'm also currently like this role also is I'm able to pursue my master's. And so I currently just started a master's program related. So I'm in a master's of community development, not community planning. And so, you know, kind of taking a step further, thinking about how can we build equitable, sustainable, inclusive communities. Like that's something that I'm still pursuing and trying to learn about and build my practice in. So, and I think I definitely went beyond this path, if not for my year of service and work with College Success Foundation and AmeriCorps.
Okay, great. All right, last question, everyone. Think back to when you were new to AmeriCorps, and a lot of people on this call are new to AmeriCorps and they're just starting their service. If there was a piece of value advice or wisdom you can give to people, what would that be?
So one of the most useful things I got from AmeriCorps in my year of service was a network and professional references that matched my intentions. But that also came from jumping at opportunities that arose from my year of service. So I would say if an opportunity feels right, go for it, get the experience. Ask for people's contact information. You're not going to build a network if you can't get a hold of them later. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask for what you need to make your term of service successful.
Excellent. Tim?
Yeah, it's I have to say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of failure. Consider it a learning opportunity. Stand up, dust yourself off. Remember, we are all here for each other. We have your six. Just have to reach out and let us know.
And Trang, bring us home.
I think definitely, and this is something I'm learning this year too, and it may seem counterintuitive, especially in like service-oriented, service-minded spaces, but don't forget to put you first, because I think oftentimes and I know I always put myself last, and I've been running on E for too long that sometimes it becomes unsustainable, and you can't expect to be present and focused and ready to take on challenges if you aren't taking care of yourself. It's kind of like what happens when you're in the airplane and they're like, put the mask on you first. Put the mask on you first. That's so that you can live happily and sustainably and ready to take on the challenge each day. So I'm definitely still learning that. Definitely growing up in an immigrant household has in my family at least has definitely always taught me to put others first. But I think I want to change that narrative, and I think if we want to be able to be effective in our communities, we need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah. So on that note, I think that's a great way to end the panel and telling to keep us to remind us that we need to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're taken care of, because we can't do that if we can't take care of ourselves. We can't do our best service, and that's a good thing to think about before burnout happens. So that's a great thing to think about now and after service. So thank you so much, Trang.
Rachel,
I think
Mary
Yes.
here. Sorry.
Yes.
We do think that we have Celina back by phone. If you'd like to invite her to answer that last question.
Okay, Celina, would you like to answer the last question? Is there any advice you would like to give new incoming members?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, what a morning we're having. Anyways, this is gonna echo how I feel right now. Don't give up. It's just let go of the safeguards. AmeriCorps is a great opportunity to try things, to improve your skills, to let go of that what if I fail, what if I don't do it right, what if somebody makes fun of me. So just go for it, because you have a support group. You're there to learn, and you don't want to be at the end of the term, I should have, I could have. You want to live with no regret. You are there to learn about yourself. So rely on your program assistant, program director, on your teammates, and give it your all and be the best that you can be, and learn as much as you can. Because trying, and if it doesn't work, it means you already know you can do a lot of things and learn from the things that didn't work. So just go for it.
Right. Thank you, Celina. Very well said. And thank you all for volunteering on this panel and for your thoughtful and candid responses, and bearing with us, even though we've had a couple of technical glitches. We really hope that the stories and insights that our panelists provided will be useful to our members. And if you enjoyed the panel, please show our panelists your appreciation, woo woo, in the chat with some positive words, maybe an emoticon or two. And while you're doing that, I will turn things back to Jenny and she can tell us about the next segment. Thank you.